Hey everyone, today I have a super cool client interview with you. We are interviewing Alicia Drew, who is probably top 1% in her field as a therapist who really focuses on marriages and long-term relationships. And in this video, we're going to be interviewing her about her experience in our Effortless Sales Engine program, where we helped her set up the systems and the automations so she could really start moving from a therapy practice where she's working one-on-one with people to building something more scalable and more sustainable where she can make more money in less time and then spend her newfound time with her husband and her son and traveling in her five-wheeler. Now, what's cool about Alicia is she also did our Persuade to Profit sales training program. So you're going to get a really good idea of what it's like to work with us, not just in Effortless Sales Engine, but pretty much in all our programs and all our containers. So in this video, Justin's actually going to be interviewing Alicia because Effortless Sales Engine is something that we teach together. And Effortless Sales Engine is where we really help a lot of our clients with the systems, the automations, and the technology, which is Justin's specialty. So without further ado, let's dive right into the interview.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and your experience and what you've been doing in the field and all that.
Okay, so I am a licensed therapist and a relationship coach, and I am working on helping high achieving individuals improve their relationships, like long term relationships, marriages, things like that, learning communication skills, learning how to understand the opposite sex. I think there's a lot of issues with that in relationships, and just helping people have a happier, healthier, significant relationship, whether it's their marriage or their, partner.
And how long have you been doing that? And how many clients do you think you've worked with?
Oh, so in my practice as a therapist, I've been doing it for 27 years, and I've worked with thousands of individuals on this. As a coach, I'm still kind of newer, getting into the coaching arena. So I've worked probably with about 20 clients in some aspect in relationships.
Tell me a little about just a little bit about how you got started as a coach and what made you want to shift from the just doing things one on one and doing the therapy and those sorts of things to shifting more towards that coaching model where you're looking at also, I mean, changing the business model, delivering it in a more
Mhm.
leveraged way and doing coaching, kind of more of the transformational work at scale versus just all the one-on-one work. Can you
Right.
walk us through just that story and what prompted you to do
Mhm.
that, and then how that all kind of took place?
Yeah. So part of it is just the frustrations as a therapist with our healthcare system and what we can and cannot do. I am a more directive, blunt person by nature anyway, and therapists are not necessarily supposed to be quite so blunt and directive. So that was a big part of my journey. But then as I've gone on, it's just wanting to leverage my time so that I can have more time for my life and for my relationship with my husband. We like to travel the country in our fifth wheel. And I want more time freedom to be able to go on hikes and explore and have fun and do the things that I tell other people to do because I'm very big on, walking the walk, that you need to do what you're wanting your clients to do. Like you can't just preach it and then be neglecting your relationship behind the scenes. So
Absolutely.
that's my big motive.
So it was really not just being able to have the lifestyle and the freedom, but also be even more of an example for your clients in the way
Mhm.
that you're taking care of your own relationship with your husband and building the life that you guys want and the freedom that you want and traveling around the country and all that.
Yes. Yeah, we've been together for 32 years. We've been married 27 of those years. And we have a great marriage. Like I feel so blessed. He's such a great guy. It's not been without its challenges. He has ADHD, and that in and of itself poses some communication issues sometimes. But even before I met him, like I remember in high school being very interested in the difference between the way men and women think and speak and problem solve. Like I would give out polls to kids in high school that I hand wrote to understand better the differences between males and females. So that's just been a long standing thing of interest for me. And yeah, I absolutely want to model that for, for my clients. Sorry, a dog is barking. I'm going to shut the door.
You're okay.
For my clients, for, just anyone who knows me, because I think that oftentimes we don't believe that we can really have a happy marriage. I mean, I've worked with single people who are maybe divorced or they've never been married. And they literally do not believe that it's possible to have a happy, healthy marriage where it's like your soft place to land at the end of the day. Like they don't think it's possible because they haven't seen it and they don't have friends or family that are doing it, and I've had to work with them and to help them understand like, no, like this actually is not a unicorn fairy tale. It exists, you just need to know how to do it. And that's the unfortunate thing. I think in my field, no one teaches you how to have a good relationship or a good marriage. And most of us don't have that modeled for us either. So it does seem like some unattainable dream. And it's not, So that's my passion, is to help people have that, whatever it looks like, because it doesn't have to be marriage. Maybe it's just a long-term commitment and, you're choosing to do life with this person without the marriage part of it. But I think everyone deserves that unconditional love and support.
Absolutely.
And
And
that's my thing. Yep.
yeah, and the default is something that's so not that. It's what we've been modeled as children by parents
Hmm.
who, I mean, I can speak for myself. I certainly didn't see the most perfect examples of nurturing and the proper amount of attention and parents that had their own stuff together, at least
Hmm.
in a way where they could really raise. And my sister and I turned out all right, obviously
Right.
after going through a lot, but it starts with having that example. And what
Hmm.
are couples to do if they don't have an example of what a good marriage looks like? And to your point, a lot of therapists, in addition to not having the breadth of experience and the level of experience that you do, they are more of the kind of this reactive mindset where it's like, okay, well, we'll just let them figure it out for themselves. But well, some people really need that guidepost, and I think that
Hmm.
not only do you exemplify that in your relationship, but I love what you're creating in your business as well, where you really are taking them along for that journey based on not only your experience as a therapist, but also what you've learned personally over many, many
Hmm.
years of building that relationship and building it to the point where it's as strong as it is.
Yes, absolutely.
So the world definitely needs that. And now that I think about this, I think we'll actually post this as a podcast episode on our channels, because I love the conversation here. So we won't just use it as a testimonial here, but we'll use this as a cool episode. And
Okay.
we have another podcast that Amanda actually did with you, so that's going to be coming out soon as well. I think we just need to confirm some things from your end. So this is a really great conversation. I'm glad we're chatting.
Good.
Okay, so moving into that coaching field, before you came across Effortless Sales Engine and Amanda and my programs and things like that, I know you were in Persuade to Profit before. That
Hmm.
helps you a lot with some of the high ticket sales and getting people into coaching versus just the therapy. It's a totally different sales process, and also obviously building systems and things like that. But before you even kind of came across us, what was your experience in that coaching field? Like, had you done other programs? What were you coming up with your research of? Here's how you needed to start, and like, how did that all work for you before you started working with us?
So yeah, I have done other programs and they're all different. I've done two by therapist. And it seems like they just have one technique, and that's what's one of the things I liked about your guys's approach, as you talk about the different platforms, whereas a lot of coaches just focus on Facebook only. So I have started a YouTube channel, that I'm just kind of getting started on, and looking at the other avenues as well. But I think too, just as in with the effortless sales engine, realizing that you need to have the systems in place. Just like in a relationship, like you need to have systems in place behind the scenes so you don't have utter chaos
Hmm.
as life goes on or as your business grows. And so that has been probably the biggest difference because, I think because of your experience with technology, because I don't think a lot of coaches know that or are equipped. Like, they know the funnels or whatever, but they don't know like all of the technology that's involved to sustain a bigger business. So that's what's been really helpful.
And it sounds like you mentioned a couple things in terms of what was missing. So I'd love to touch on that first because a lot of people are wondering, well, where do I kind of go from here? Where do I start? It sounds like technology was a big piece of what was missing.
Hmm.
And what were your results, I guess, from those other programs? Like, were you able to get any momentum? Did you learn some things, and what was maybe missing from that experience? What was challenging?
I learned some things, but it seemed like they had one way to do things. And that's why I like that you guys, look at various opportunities. You're not just like, okay, this is the one thing you do and that's it. And if you don't want to do that, like if you, because this one coach, she was huge on get in Facebook groups and then start conversations and slide into their like cold DMs, and you guys actually talk about how like it's this relationship that you build and you wouldn't just want to hop into bed with someone on a first date. You build that relationship, right? And I know how skeezy it feels when someone just friends me and pops into my DMs on whatever platform. And they just want to sell you. They're not
Hmm.
trying to nurture a relationship. They're not, coming about it the right way. And that was the problem with some of these other coaching programs I've done. It's like that's what they teach you to do. That's how you recruit clients. That's how you build your database. And that's not like authentic for me. And, that's not how I want to be. So I appreciate that you guys, kind of teach how to nurture that relationship as well. Cause I think that's really important because, you want, like with my private practice, I don't advertise at all. It's all word of mouth. It's my reputation. And that's how I want my coaching to be. Not that I won't ever advertise, but like I want people to be like, oh, you need to improve your relationship. Like you need to talk to Alicia. Like she's your person. I want my reputation to be upheld. And if I feel like if you do that skeezy stuff, like eventually you're going to burn your reputation, because it's just not cool to act that way.
I agree, and authenticity is really the key in everything that we teach. And you mentioned something
Hmm.
that I think was really powerful, which is how do you become that sort of icon in your marketplace? The person that you're in front of them so often, delivering value and not just asking for them to book a call with you, asking for them, to give you money, where you're
Hmm.
leading with value first. You're leading with authenticity, you're leading with content, you're leading with value, you're leading with all of that transformational insight that's going to get them thinking
Hmm.
differently, even if it's in a 90-second TikTok. And they see that, and then
Right.
they see another one, and then they see another one, and then they say, and by the way, congratulations on all the content you've been putting out on
Thank
all these
you.
platforms. I see it, and it's not easy to do that and to really be consistent. So it's amazing that you've gotten all of that out, and it gets better and better every single video I see. So that's awesome. But you lead with
Thank
that
you.
value, right? It's not just
Hmm.
spam a bunch of people with messages. And I think maybe there's some weird, almost pyramid schemey thing going on where they're like, these coaches are selling this product, and then they want you to DM all these people, and then eventually you end up like they try to get you to sell for them, and it's this really weird.
Right.
I don't know who came up with all this stuff, but yeah, sending the same message to everybody does not work, and you got to have
Hmm.
multiple sources of lead flow. It's not just don't ever rely on
Right.
just one, because Facebook could get shut down tomorrow. TikTok actually might get shut down tomorrow, from what we're hearing. Um,
I hope not, because
yeah,
I discovered on my call with Amanda earlier today that that's the one I get the most responses on, actually. And that's not where I thought I would find my clients, but you guys have kind of taught me to think outside the box and not limit myself, which is good. because I think a lot of coaches out there are just like, Facebook is where you're going to make your money, just Facebook only. That's all you need to worry about.
Yeah, you don't want to be
But
in,
like,
in a crowded marketplace like that. We actually had,
mhm,
I don't know if you saw that last video, the one that went viral on my TikTok where Amanda and I were talking, but that one's got up to 350K already in a
wow,
single video, and we didn't even try to
that's
make it
great.
go. It was just, this is the short form content that Opus clipped, and the more volume you do, you just start to see the patterns, and you just repeat some of those patterns, and then
Hmm.
the algorithm will pick up on the stuff that's working. And 1 in 10 videos might go viral and get 20, 30, 50, 100,000 views, and not all those people are going to be your perfect client, but a lot of them might. So it's just about
Right.
being consistent and keeping it up, and having that accountability and that support. So tell me, what made you join Effortless Sales Engine in the first place? What was it about the program that made you want to hop on?
So I just was instantly drawn to Amanda, like the first time I saw her speak, and I don't even know how I came across her, honestly. And I did Persuade to Profit. I just love her energy, her approach, the way her brain works. And then, I got to know you and see you guys working together, and you just are a really well-oiled machine, and really complement each other, which of course, I'm drawn to, because that's like my goal is to have people that work well together and complement each other. Um, so I think, there's just a lot about her energy that drew me in. And then, hearing like, oh, you need to leverage your time, you need to have these systems set into place, or you could end up like her first situation where you just want to burn it all down. And I started, how it is once you hear one person say something, you start to become aware of it more and more. And then I'm noticing, I'm hearing more coaches that are established, like fall off the grid and then come back and be like, oh my God, I was so burnt out. Like I just had to take a break for a year or something, or I just really wanted to burn my business down. And so, like, how much smarter it would be to set that up on the front end rather than after you go through, building everything up and then having to go in and automate everything. So that was the big, like, so a lot of things, but that was it in short, that it just seemed to like all about working smarter, not harder. And that's also, what I like to teach my couples is how to communicate in a way where they're leveraging their time and their energy, and working smarter, not harder. Because we're working with high achievers; they don't have a lot of time to waste, and or patience probably either. So
I love that. Can you go in a little bit more into detail about how this program has helped you work smarter and not harder?
as much as I hate technology, we have such a love hate relationship. Like I've learned so much about building websites and funnels and email automations. And I know that in the moment, it's very frustrating and challenging if you're someone like me who is not super tech savvy. But I also know that it's going to serve me until I decide not to do this anymore, like until I retire. So it's like, build it once and then you can use it, for as long as you want to. So that has been really helpful because I feel like COVID really slammed my therapy practice to the point where it ended up good. I mean, I built out and hired on a lot of therapists, and I really grew, but it also kind of burnt me out of therapy because people just were needing so much, and so that also made me think of like what systems can I put into place in my practice as well, so I'm not working so hard. Because again, work takes its toll on your health, your life, your relationships. And so why not work smarter,
How has your life changed, like since the program? I mean, what are some of the biggest things that have shifted for you?
So I won't lie, like initially up front, as you know, because you've held my hand through a lot of it, it is a lot of work and angst and frustration with technology if you're not tech savvy like me, and I am older. So I didn't grow up with, internet wasn't around until I was in graduate school, I think. So it doesn't come as intrinsically to me as it might to some of your clients. But that once you get it, not only do you feel amazing, like, oh my God, I'm such a badass, I got this figured out, but you also, then can automate things and you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. So like I've done a masterclass, I'm doing a marriage challenge on whenever it is, like April 29th. So maybe a week and a half out, and just being able to use those automations instead of keeping track, like, back in the day, like when I first started, I would keep track of everything in a notebook on paper, like emails and who got what, and just learning that automation can do that for you. And that saves you hours and brain power. And so that's time, I can go out and go for a walk with my husband or spend time with him and our son, or just do whatever I want, read a book. So yeah, it just frees up so much time after you get everything in place. But it's tricky while you're getting it in place. You just got to push through the frustration.
Of course. That's a really great win, though. I mean, I'd love it if you could touch a little bit, and we're coming up to our last maybe 5 or 10 minutes here, but I'd love it if you
Mhm.
could touch a little bit on just the type and the level of support that you've received throughout the program, and maybe how that's been different for you compared to other programs and other things that you've taken.
Mhm. So, I mean, I have had some coaches that have been very hands-on and caring and, genuine. But then I've also had a lot of coaches over the years who have not, that you're just a sale to them. And I feel like, with you and Amanda, like there's a genuine care and connection and concern that, I've, messaged you and reached out, whenever, if I'm stuck on something tech, like, how do I fix this? Or, oh my God, this happened, I don't know what to do, and you'll make me a loom to figure it out or walk me through it, or just sometimes key in and do it for me when I'm really like ready to pull my hair out. Um, and then with Amanda, I think just her I really value her wisdom and vulnerability, and just some of the stuff that she has shared, like the struggles that she's gone through, have been really helpful for me, because I think it's so easy, and it's probably something a lot of business owners go through when you're trying to build, but nobody wants to maybe talk about it. And so her talking about her struggles, and I know she's recently been doing some Facebook lives talking about like regulating your nervous system and her struggle. And I just so appreciate that, because I have a lot of friends that are trying to become coaches, that are therapists, and they are all really feeling frustrated and defeated. And we went through a different coaching program together, not you guys, but one with a therapist. And we all left feeling like the biggest failures, like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, if you can't do this, you're an idiot. And, I just so appreciate that you guys like hold our hand and walk us through that difficulty, and never make anyone feel stupid if they don't understand something, but say, okay, like, let's look at how we can do this differently. Like, I remember a call maybe a week ago. You were diagramming out, how the process would go, because just hearing it auditorily, because the four or three of us on the call were not tech people like you, we weren't getting it. So you like mapped it out for us, in a flow chart, and then it was like, oh, okay, now I get it. And like I said, a lot of the coaches I've worked with, like, if you don't do it their way or get it from their perspective, then you're just out of luck. Like, sorry, sucks to be you. Because some of my friends did ask the one therapist coach for a refund, because they felt just it was a really bad program. And she's made a lot of money. And and she's flaunting it online too, which is really kind of gross, that how successful, like, she's like, I made $1 million. And she's like got a money machine that it's like spitting dollar bills out. Yeah, it's so tacky. But yet that she has a guarantee, but she's not standing behind her guarantee.
Mm.
for some of these women. And it's just like, oh my goodness. And so again, it kind of comes back to leading with integrity and authenticity. And I think that's something that, I personally really valued about working with the two of you is, you're very authentic people. And again, like I said, even when it's hard stuff that people aren't understanding, you never make anyone feel less than or stupid because they don't get it. Like you just try to figure out, okay, how can I say this or do this in a way that it does make sense for you? And I've noticed too that, um, you know, Amanda, especially, and you do this too, but are always checking in like, does that make sense? Do you understand that? Did you get that right? And checking in just to make sure that everyone is following. Like, so it's like you realize, because I think this is something a lot of people struggle with this. And I mean, I'm probably guilty of it too. When it's our genius zone and it just comes so easy to you, like breathing air, we don't always understand, like, we got to make this really simple for people who this is not their language, it's not native for them. And so I love that you guys check in and make sure people are, the clients are getting it before you move on and don't just be like, oh, well, I explained it. I'm sorry. Sucks you didn't understand it.
Mm.
So
I appreciate that. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. Um,
thank you for your help.
yeah, it's definitely a different skill set to know how to do something and then to know how to actually teach it. When I was in
Yes.
junior high, I spent 2 summers volunteering at a retirement home in the Bay Area and teaching the residents
Hmm.
how to like set up their computers and fix their
Oh my
modem and
goodness.
like
Ah.
uh, we set up like the video dashboards, like the screens with the meals and everything around the center. And it was a very like
Oh my
upscale kind of
gosh.
place. They had a CCTV system for all the events, and
Oh
we built that
wow.
all out for them. And I think that experience taught me a lot about just really having like compassion for people where they're at. Because yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, when I was growing up, like I built my first website when I was 5 and a half. I learned how to build computers as a
Yeah.
toddler. Like and it's a different approach for sure. So you have to meet
Hmm.
people where they're at. Okay, just a couple more questions if you're okay on
Sure.
time for a few more minutes. So where do you see your business, let's say 18 months from now, based on everything, all the transformations that you've gone through in the program and everything that you've learned and everything that you're now starting to apply? 18 months
Mhm.
from now, what does your business look like?
So I hope that it will really be booming and I will have all of the coaching clients that I desire to have because I do still have my private practice clients and I cannot abandon them. And people are just not graduating the way they used to pre-COVID. Like they're hanging on because I think I'm like the one normalcy in their life. But I am launching a book hopefully by the end of this month, and so for me, just really the next 18 months look like really building relationships with clients and adding to my client list and practicing everything. Like I need the time and space to really implement everything I've learned with you guys over the past several months, and continue to be consistent. Like you said, like, my consistency has gotten a lot better. So I need to just keep being consistent and giving value and, know that as I do that, my following and reputation will grow and I will find my ideal clients to work with because I really do like the people that I do work with. I feel very fortunate to have some really amazing clients in my private practice and in my coaching, you know. And it's nice to be able to choose to work with the people that you feel like light you up and that work just is kind of your life's purpose, right? Like that's kind of as good as it gets, I think.
Yeah, I really love that for you. Can I give you just a tiny bit of coaching? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So language is like, as you know, super, super, super
I knew you were gonna
powerful.
catch that.
I wonder if you could restate that as if, I mean, and you could still start with like in 18 months. Here's
Mhm.
I see and I'm doing and this is what my business looks like. But like take the word hope out of that completely, because
I
I
know.
think that when we
As
say, I hope or I wish or it's kind of putting the locus of control outside of us. But when
Mhm.
you declare something and you're like, this is what's going to happen,
Yes.
I think that really plants much stronger seeds in your subconscious for what is actually going to occur. So if you wouldn't mind, just try that again, but with like
Okay.
more of the groundedness and like, here's what's happening.
In 18 months, my book will have been launched, and I will have a workbook or a journal to accompany it that will have been launched. And I will have as many clients as I desire to work with me, and to help all of these couples on their journey is just invaluable to me. And I love that I get to choose how busy I want to be, as my husband and I were going out west for like 4 months in our fifth wheel traveling. So I love that I'll be able to determine, how busy I would choose to be and when I choose to have downtime to really spend time with him and explore so that I can be modeling, the relationship that I hope for my clients as well. Better.
Great. Much. Yeah. Okay. One final question and then we'll wrap up here. Who would you recommend join us in Effortless Sales Engine? And what would you say to people who like are maybe on the fence about whether or not they want to do this?
So I think, anybody who has a business or is trying to start their business, because I know you work with established people too. It's not just coaches that are getting started. So that doesn't even really matter. But I think anyone who just really wants to work smarter, not harder in their business and wants to have a team, you and Amanda to work with that is going to be caring and kind of guide them and hold their hand through the process to get them over that bridge, to being more systematized and automated and again able to live their life and work smarter, not harder. Like anyone who wants to really leverage their time, this would be a good program for.
And what would you say to someone who's like, I mean, like you were in the beginning, hey, I really want to do this, but I don't know if I can commit to it, or I don't know if this is the right decision for me. What would you share with them, just in terms of like some inspiration or some perspective that might help them make the decision that would be the most empowering to them?
I guess the idea that you find time for the things that matter to you, and anything worth having is worth working for. Because I've certainly had to learn and grow and step out of my comfort zone a lot in this program. But I don't regret that I've done it because I've learned so much and I've grown so much. And I feel like, you know me, I'm always, writing down notes of everything. So I like have all these notes and things to really get granular with and apply and just rinse, repeat, So I feel like I have a lot of really good information to now launch into the future with and really work on, and I've got my system in place, and it's just worth the upfront work because now I know it's in place and I don't have to worry about it. I can just go, and the sky's the limit.
Awesome.
Didn't I tell y'all that this was going to be a super cool and very insightful interview on not just what it's like to change business models, but also the mindset required for it, the systems required for it, and what it's like to work with us. Now, if you're interested in working with us after checking out this interview, there's two ways then you could do it. If you're under 6 figures in your business, then I recommend our Persuade to Profit program, which is all about marketing and sales and really setting up that foundational sales process and a lot of the relationship building stuff that Alicia was talking about in this video. Now, if you're beyond that and you're ready to move toward scaling a business, so moving out of one-on-one work, really building in systems and automation so the business runs 24/7, then our Effortless Sales Engine program is the one that's right for you. You can find both below. You can find more information and apply to both of those below. If you have any questions about anything that you heard in this interview or anything you'd like me to do a specific video on, then leave it in the comments as well. And as always, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the daily content that we have coming out on this channel.